Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. In today's stories, am I the idiot for choosing to live with my ex-stepmom instead of my dad after their divorce? I, 18 female, are about to graduate high school, and things have been weird at home for a while, but now everything's kind of blown up and I'm getting a lot of mixed reactions, so I figured I'd post here. My dad remarried when I was 14, his new wife had 2 kids from a previous marriage, who were younger than me. From the start, she was polite, but cold, never rude, but definitely distant. She always seemed more relaxed and affectionate with her kids, which hurt, but I figured maybe that was just natural. But whenever I came into the room, she would stop laughing and look at me as if I was in danger of hurting her or her children. For years I felt like I was walking on eggshells around her. I tried being friendly, helping out with her kids, giving her space, etc., but it never felt like I was truly welcome in my own home. It hurt, but I got used to it. But something changed this past year. I don't know exactly what triggered it, but stepmom started acting different, more present. She started checking in on me, inviting me to sit with her and her kids more, even standing up for me when my dad would snap at me or criticize me, and that's when things started to click between us. Turns out, my dad had told stepmom a lot of stuff about me when they first got together. Things like I was manipulative, dishonest, moody, lazy, emotionally unstable, basically made me sound like some troubled, dramatic teenager who couldn't be trusted. I found this out because I overheard them fight about it. She apologized, said she realized how wrong she'd been and how my dad was constantly nitpicking, belittling, and controlling, and how she never saw it clearly until she started watching how he treated me versus everyone else. They divorced about 2 months ago. My dad expected me to stay with him. Legally I could do whatever since I'm 18, but I told him I wanted to live with stepmom. It caused a whole explosion. He said I was, quote, choosing a woman who never even wanted me, and that I was, quote, turning my back on my real family. His parents, my grandparents, called me ungrateful, even a few family friends said I was being disloyal and just trying to hurt him. But here's the thing, Dana does want me now. She's apologized, made an effort, and treats me like a human being. She's the one coming to visit my school competitions and helps me whenever I ask her. My dad hasn't taken a real interest in me in years. While she listens, she makes space for me. She showed me what it feels like to be safe. So, am I the idiot for choosing to live with my former stepmom instead of my dad? Let's also read a few relevant comments. Turns out, my dad had told stepmom a lot of stuff about me when they first got together, things like I was manipulative, dishonest, moody, lazy, emotionally unstable. The thing I don't get is, why did it take her 3 years to figure out this wasn't true when you all lived together? If all those things are lies and she lived with you, wouldn't she notice it's untrue within months? Throughout most of my high school time I went to a boarding school. I could have come home on the weekends, but because I did feel that unwelcomed at home, I stayed there for most of the year. I only came home during the holidays. My senior year, however, I couldn't go back, because my father thought the boarding school would only make me entitled. That I would think of myself better than the rest of the family, but that wasn't true at all. How would he know? My father hasn't taken an interest in me in years. I bet he doesn't even know what sport I like to play or the name of my best friend. He only started to pretend to care about me chose to live with stepmom. I'm sorry OP, your father honestly sounds like a monster to deal with. Like why would he lie about you? What he was to gain? I honestly don't know, and I'm afraid to find out. I can't imagine a good reason for something like that, and I'm afraid if I'm asking him, he will turn things around and make me believe him. Or guilt trip me into coming back. I'm still not a fan of stepmother to be honest. It took her 4 years to realize OP isn't like how her father said she is. At least she's being nicer now, hopefully you too, and the children if you're interested, can have a decent relationship. She did apologize for that, but to be honest it wasn't entirely her fault. After she married my dad, I started high school at a boarding school and only came home when necessary, because I thought I was a burden to them, and she doesn't want me near her kids. My dad then decided that boarding school would make me entitled, so I had to change school for my senior year. I didn't even get any warning. He first told me the day I was supposed to go back to boarding school. I think that was when stepmom realized something was off. When she tried talking to my dad about it, saying it wasn't really nice to make me change schools in my last year, I first thought she just really didn't want me to live with them, but it was that time she started to be there for me. I clearly could see that she was still cautious about me and held her distance. Still, she asked me if I wanted the car to meet with new friends. She told me to invite them over, so I could make friends at my new school, and even came with my step-siblings to school events. Dad didn't like that and tried to gaslight us both again. The difference was because we did talk to each other now, we recognized the lies. That's when stepmom decided she couldn't trust him anymore and asked for the divorce. In the end, he taking me away from my school was what made sure his lies were discovered. Where is OP's biological mother? My bio mom died when I was 10. I remember Dad being different when she was still there, but maybe I'm just romanticizing the time because I wanted him to be. Is OP's father supporting her financially and for college, too? No, there is a college fund made for me when I was a baby by my grandparents. No, OP, you're definitely not the idiot here. You chose to live with your actual parent, rather than continue living with someone who belittles you, lies about you, and neglects you. It's that simple. Because let's be real, Diana is the one being a parent to you, not your father. I don't know why he did what he did. He wanted her to think you were a bad person. Maybe he thought that if she thinks that you were the bad apple, he could hide how rotten he is from wife. He sucks. Besides being a bad father and a bad husband, he seems like a horrible person. Don't feel guilty about choosing the person who genuinely cares about you, in this case, your ex-stepmother. Go live with her, and don't let these people who are talking crap to you make you feel guilty, or don't let them change your mind. Either they don't care about you, or they don't know how your father treats you, or worse, they know but don't care. Either way, stick to your decision. Not the idiot OP. And what do you think of this situation? What would you advise OP to do? Do you think she made the right decision? I also wonder about OP's maternal grandparents. What they think about the situation. Do they like stepmother? Wouldn't they prefer her to live with them? But we don't even know if they are still alive or if OP has any contact with them. What do you think? Don't forget to leave your thoughts below. Now, let's go to the update. Update: am I the idiot for choosing to live with my ex-stepmom instead of my dad after their divorce? Hi again, I honestly didn't expect my post to get the attention it did, but thank you to everyone who offered support, advice, or even just validation. Reading your comments helped me feel a little less alone in all of this. I wanted to give an update, especially since some people asked if my dad ever tried to explain himself. Well, he did. After I moved in with my ex-stepmom, things were quiet for a few weeks. Then, last week my dad asked to meet. I agreed, hoping maybe this would be a turning point, that he'd acknowledge the way he treated me and maybe even apologize, but instead, I got a whole different kind of explanation. He told me that he was still in love with my mom, who passed away when I was 10, and that he had never truly moved on. He said that after she died, he felt like he lost not just his wife, but a piece of himself. He admitted that he married stepmom not out of love, but because he thought building a new family would help him fill the void, but it didn't. And instead, he grew bitter and angry, and started taking it out on everyone. On stepmom, on her kids, on me. Then he said something that completely shattered me. He said he never wanted her to bond with me, because if she did, it would feel like my mom was being erased. That he couldn't handle the idea of me loving someone else in a mother role. That every time he saw stepmom and I getting along, it felt like I was letting go of my mom and replacing her. Which is just not true. I will always love my mom. Nothing could ever change that, but I also deserve to have people in my life who care about me now, people who show it, and stepmom has done that. She's trying, and she's here. When I asked him if he realized how much he'd hurt me, how he'd changed from the dad I remembered, he didn't deny it, but he also didn't apologize. He just said he was dealing with his grief the only way he knew how, and that I should respect that. He told me stepmom was taking me away from him, and that I had replaced my mom. He said, word for word, "You chose her over your real mother's memory." I walked out. I don't think I will talk to him again unless he apologizes and changes his ways. I'm still processing all of this. I'm trying to hold space for the version of my dad who was kind, who tucked me in at night and made waffles on Saturdays. But I'm also not going to pretend the last few years didn't happen. Grief isn't an excuse for cruelty, and choosing peace and love now isn't a betrayal of the past. Stepmom is not perfect, but she's trying, and for now, this feels like the healthiest place for me to be. We're rebuilding something strange and new, but it feels more real than anything I've had in years. I don't know what the future holds with my dad, but I know this. I'm allowed to be loved, and I'm allowed to choose it, wherever I find it. Thanks again, everyone. OP responds to a deleted comment regarding the first post. Because I didn't post the first post after I moved in with stepmom. I have already lived with her since the divorce 2 months ago. I met my dad yesterday for the first time since then. I put it off for so long, because I was afraid he would be able to guilt me into coming back. The post I did last week gave me courage to go through with it. OP on her ex-stepmother being her bonus mom. Bonus mom, I like that. She really does kind of feel like one. Not the idiot. Grief isn't an excuse for cruelty, and choosing peace and love now isn't a betrayal of the past. You couldn't have put it better. What a shitty father. Stepmom didn't replace your mom, sounds like she replaced your dad. True. So your father says he's still mourning your mother, and instead of keeping the part of her that's still alive, in this case, you, close to him, he pushes you away, neglects you, and mistreats you? And he makes his ex-wife think you're an a-hole for years, and makes you miserable, to say the least, with the excuse that he doesn't want you to have a mother so you don't forget your bio mom? What the F? He's full of shit. The worst part is that I think he truly believes he's right. Good God. I understand that grief can make people behave weird sometimes, but this doesn't make sense. He keeps you away because you are a reminder of his loss, but he doesn't want you to have another parental figure in your life? So he just wants you to be unhappy and feel unloved? Like, if he can't be happy, you shouldn't be either? If that's the case, this man really is a bad person, and your mom would probably be ashamed of her husband. Also, I say parental figure because, with your mother's death, by his choice, you lost your mother and your father. I'm truly sorry for your loss, of both of you, but like you said, that doesn't justify his behavior towards all of you, for all these years. And what did you guys think of this update? Is there any other advice that would you give to OP? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Oh, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the next story. Shut my mouth and do what I was told? Absolutely. When I was in college, I worked as a baker for a well-known regional bagel and sandwich chain. At some point, an assistant manager transferred to my store who was the stereotypical petty, power-tripping, ridiculous manager you find in this type of job. Her specialty was yelling at and berating employees in front of customers. I will never not believe that she enjoyed publicly humiliating people. It was tolerable, until I agreed to cover a shift at the store she transferred from. Someone there asked me what I thought of her. I thought I was careful, as I just commented that she had very high expectations, which were hard for some people to meet. Understatement of the year. Well, this lovely person passed this back to her, which shot me to the top of her shit list. What followed was a series of write-ups for egregious violations, like missing some seeds when mopping the floor, or not emptying a garbage can that had a single paper towel in it. Lucky for me, I was one of the few people there certified to run the ovens. My opportunity for malicious compliance came one Saturday lunchtime, when a charter bus pulled up. I'd seen this before, and knew that a bus full of people buying sandwiches is equivalent to 2 to 3 people bringing bagels to work. Barely a blip compared to morning rush. I went to the counter to help, and assistant manager yelled at me to get back into the kitchen and start baking more. I tried to tell her we were fine, but as soon as I opened my mouth she yelled, "Shut your goddamn mouth, do what I told you, and don't stop baking until I say stop." Isn't she lovely? Two important things to know is that first, when I took my certification test, they told me I passed it with the second fastest time on record for the local franchise. The second thing is that the ovens were adjustable, you could turn up the heat to speed up the cooking process. I went back to the baking area, cranked up the oven and baked as fast as I possibly could. The ovens had 8 shelves, holding about 48 bagels each. Eventually I had them all filled up and was only gated by how fast they could cook, and I could send them up front. Assistant manager was down at the register this whole time and was not paying attention to stock levels in the bagel bins. I kept bringing out shelf after shelf. At one point, the bins were overflowing, so I had to start putting them in extra bins we kept in the back. Once those were full, I started putting them in on metal trays. LOL. The crowd finally died down and assistant manager finally looked at the bagel bins and realized she never told me to stop. She asked me if there was anything still baking, and I informed her that every shelf was full. She lost it and started yelling that I was getting fired, until multiple people pointed out that I just did exactly what she asked. The store manager ended up coming in and pretty much everyone told them the exact same story. Assistant manager had to bag up the mountains of excess bagels, and drive them to all the other stores in the area, so that they wouldn't go to waste. Even after that, we still exceeded the allowed wastage for the day, and she was reprimanded. She still yelled at everyone after that, but she was at least more careful in her wording. LOL, she was lucky they didn't take the unsold bagels out of her paycheck. I still don't understand why these people can't just be nice to their workers, or at least not be total jerks. I'm not saying you should be BFFs with your workers, or not be demanding of their work, just don't be a-holes. But sometimes people are so unhappy with their own lives that they just want to take it out on others, or worse, they're only happy making others unhappy. I've encountered a few of them in my life, they suck. And what did you guys think of this situation? Did you agree with what OP did? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, go watch the video that is appearing on the screen right now or click on one of our playlists that are in the description to watch more videos. Until next time.